Hello sewing friends, Deb here, Slap Happy Sewing. Okay, so I'm going to do a little episode of Friday Sews. Now, I have been away for a while, so I think I ought to introduce myself again. I live in New Zealand. As you can hear from my accent, I'm British. I've lived here for 18, 19 years, and I'm married to a New Zealander. And New Zealand culture is not like British culture, I can assure you of that, because we have lots of arguments around how things should be done. I have been working full-time again, bit of a pity from a sewing and crafting point of view, but I'm enjoying my job very much at the moment. So I'm afraid my episodes have become much more infrequent, but I am going to try and keep up with Friday. I wanted to show you was something that I have been crocheting. So it's this. It's taken me ages to crochet. I'll stick it on in a minute. This is how it works. I seem to be unable these days to watch anything on television without either knitting or crocheting, and I do find wool quite expensive, so I pick up wool in charity shops where I can, and sometimes, and I don't like knitting or crocheting with patterns, so I kind of make it up as I go along. Well, as you can imagine, sometimes that's successful and sometimes that's not overly successful. But let me show you this here, because I made this and I quite liked it as it was, and then I thought I'd add a bit of embellishment, so I added the black to it and the little, I don't know if you would call them flowers or nodules. Do you remember these from the 1960s and 70s? I must admit I do quite like it now, although I do think it's maybe a little bit dull, and I was thinking about maybe just sort of putting like a little red or some other colour. I'm going to take this now and go down to the wool shop and see if I can find a colour that maybe would brighten it up a bit, because although I do like it a lot, I think it's a little bit sombre. On the other hand, I might decide sombre is okay. So there's this one, which reminds me, I must show you, I also made for my poor old cat, who is, how old is Big Puss? I think he was born in 2005, so he's at 17, and he's quite arthritic these days, but he's got a magic attraction to any form of warmth, and of course at the moment it's winter here. They also arrives as soon as we put the gas fire on, which has got like a living flame effect, and he spends so many hours in front of that fire that I've decided to make him a little cushion of his own. So here it is. I put the blanket on top, but the cushion is actually just a piece of foam that I had, and it's got a fleece cover on it. A week ago last Sunday I spent a fair bit of time cutting out a few things, including the make I'm going to show you in a minute. However, I was cutting out as usual on my dining room table, and like an idiot, I didn't do anything to prop up the legs. I was on my own in the house anyway, and the table's very, very heavy. So I thought, well, I'll be all okay. And I must admit, my back did ache a little bit on the day. But that night in bed, I had to get up and take some paracetamol because my back was killing me. And the following day, it just seemed to get stiffer and stiffer. And then in the end, it just started sort of going like that. Scrunch, scrunch. It was pretty blimmin' painful. And I was at work that day, and I had sat down in an all-day workshop, and I was just like sitting backwards, forwards, sideways on my chair, and this pain across my shoulder blades was just appalling. And it was definitely from cutting out, from leaning over, because I cut out, how many things? I cut out the thing I'm going to show you in a minute. I cut out also, well, I cut out the Sienna Maker jacket, but it's not this version. The Sienna Maker jacket's a funny pattern actually, because it's actually almost like two jackets in one. If I can show you here, here's the line drawing. Do you see it's like a long jacket and a short jacket? well, I cut out the short jacket because that's all I had the fabric for. And I don't know why I'm cutting out such complicated things when I'm working full time and I haven't got a whole lot of time for sewing, but I'm a bit of a jacket lover. But I cut it out in this lovely cord, chocolate cord from my stash. So I'm looking forward to getting the jacket. I'm not sure if I'm really looking forward to making it. You know, complicated makes and all that. I also cut out, you know, and bear in mind, on the whole, I'm making nearly everything from my stash at the moment. I'm kind of not allowing myself to buy fabric because I bought so much fabric from that lady on our version of eBay, Trade Me, that I've got how many bins of fabric? I've got 4 or 5 bins of fabric and a box. And you know, when we move house in a couple of years' time, or maybe even before that, we're going to move to a much smaller house, and I don't know where I'm going to put it all. So I think I need to sort of concentrate on sewing down my stash. Anyway, what I cut out with this fabric, which might seem an unusual pick, here's the fabric. Actually, I bought this a while ago, maybe a year or two ago, off AliExpress. I hope it comes out. It's almost like an arts and crafts style pattern and quite unusual. And I thought, you know, I'd really like a dress for the spring. And, you know, I know it's dark, but I also have this green fabric, if you excuse me. I also have this green fabric that goes perfectly with it. So I thought I'm going to make myself one of these Sonata dresses, and I'll make it long sleeve, so it'll be a nice spring make and I can wear it when the weather gets better. I made one of these before, and if I can find the photo of it, I'll stick it up here. I really liked that dress, but I didn't keep it because it was a bit short in the bodice. And I found this one it's a lovely flattering shape for someone who's a bit thick in the middle like me, because it's got elastic at the back, but it's flat in the front. So I'm very pleased with the shape, but I found that because the bodice was a little bit short, I mean, I made this a few years ago before I understood as much as I do about fit. Because it was a bit short, I found that when I raised my arms, the whole thing would kind of stay up there, stuck under my bust. Bit annoying. So I'm hoping now that I've lengthened the bodice of this, it will be better. But I might make this one first because it's an easy make and I want gratifying projects. So yeah, so after cutting out those two, and I think I cut something else out, but it might have been just a bag or something, and this poodle jumper that I'll show you in a minute. Well, by the time I finish that lot, that's what caused my bad back. So note to self, I'm going to have to be a lot more careful in the future. Anyway, let's get on and show you my make that I made. I actually made something and finished it. So did I ever tell you that I have a thing about boucle? I love fabrics with texture, and because of that, one day I was in Spotlight and I saw this beautiful textured fabric. It's kind of even a bit more than boucle, I'd say, like Poodle. And I bought a couple of meters of it, determining that I would make myself something cozy. So here we go. I will show you my cozy thing and then I will tell you what the pattern is. So backwards, as you can see, it is absolutely huge. Now, it was supposed to be huge. I wanted something big and loose because I wanted to take the place of, you know, when you want to sit around in your dressing gown, but you don't want to wear a dressing gown. You want to wear something with something on your legs because it's cold at the moment in New Zealand. So I thought I would make a hoodie, and I have a few different hoodie patterns, but I found this one, which I think might come from the 1980s or 90s, Simplicity 8262, and I bought it for 50 cents in the charity shop. So when I got the pattern out, I mean, I know it's supposed to be loose, you know. I was a little worried that it wouldn't be big enough for me, but when I got the pattern out, I found that it was absolutely enormous. Really, really huge. So I thought what I'll do, I don't know if I can see this, is I actually cut it all down. And I thought, well, it was the other thing is it's very straight as well. And I thought I actually want less, it would have been right off my shoulders like down here. I thought I want less on the shoulders and more on in the hips. So I cut it basically all down, and I don't know if you can tell, but I folded it past itself at the top, and then down at the bottom it's splayed out a little bit and has a little room here extra. And that's, you know, basically just to make it even. Yeah, and I thought, well, let's see what happens. And this is what happened. And I even put the pocket on in the assigned places. And I mean, I'm a tall girl, 5'8", but my hands only just reach into these pockets. However, one thing I didn't do, it's made to have either a collar or a hood. A collar like that, or a hood. These here, I thought that was like the collar I've got. So what I did was I found a pattern with the collar, the kind of collar that I wanted, and this one is a free pattern, and it comes from www.sewingrabbit.com. Nice little hoodie, but not very big in size. But however, I just took the collar off it, which actually all it was just a straight rectangle. Where am I? Here. So all it is just a straight rectangle like that. And I adjusted the neckline so that it would fit the collar. So I must admit I am relatively happy with that. This is the collar I wanted. I thought I won't be wearing a hood inside, but I would like a snuggly collar. And I put this is actually bias binding that I made out of some jersey fabric. In fact, I've used this jersey fabric for all sorts of trimmings and things. Now, the cuff isn't a cuff on the actual thing, it's just sewn down. But then when I noticed it there, I thought, oh, the sleeves were quite long, but the other thing was I've actually found them quite drafty, so I've put some elastic in the sleeves, and even though the elastic I made quite a bit bigger than my wrists, it's surprising. So I am happy with that. I'm thinking of putting just turning this up a bit more and putting one of these in the bottom. Not sure if I will or not, because this is really, really, really long. So yeah, I mean, probably this is completely out of step for you guys, because it's hardly, in many of you, your parts of the world, you'd be looking at the exact opposite to this type of garment. But I'm quite charmed and chuffed about making this. Oh, forgot to say, absolutely awful to sew. My sewing machine didn't like it. My overlocker snagged up on it, and I think it might have blunted the knives, so I've just paid to have sharpened. I could scream, but there was no way it was going to sew near the edge, so I've just hand sewn them. And even if the cuffs are hand sewn, and if I turn it up, I'll do it by hand, because I don't want to risk my machine any longer. So I will remember that it's not really a machine that does these sort of fabrics very well. So yeah, I'll just give you a final twirl. So yeah, glamour is not the name of the game, but it's a poodly hug. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed seeing my oversized poodle make. Actually, when I looked at the video myself, I thought, yeah, you know, I really do think I'll turn that bottom. I might even put, you know, a cord right through and ties in either side. I just think it would look better a little bit shorter, and the ties would set it off better. But yeah, I would never describe that as a flattering make, but it's certainly a cozy thing for home. If only you knew just how hard it is sometimes to get a video made. My husband, who incidentally will be 65 tomorrow, so I've enjoyed teasing him about being an OAP and getting his bus pass, but he's just gone out actually. I'm finding it so hard because he's semi-retired now and he's at home quite a bit, so I find it really hard to get a bit of space where I'm not interrupted, or where he hasn't got the radio blaring, or where the phone doesn't ring, or where he doesn't just walk in on me to record videos. It doesn't help that it's winter and parts of our house are quite cold, so they're too cold to sit in, or they're too dark in the winter for filming. But yeah, I wonder if that strikes a chord with any of you. It does make me wonder, how are we going to manage this when we're retired and we'll be tripping over each other? I must admit, I'm quite glad he likes to go tramping, because it does give me a bit of space to do my own thing, do some filming and do some sewing. But of course the weather's been too bad for tramping. Anyway, bye for now. Thanks for all of your lovely comments and support. You guys, you just keep me going. I just love hearing from you. Please write in and tell me what you're making and what's going on in your sewing world, because that's the whole reason for this channel, is community, is for us to share with each other. So what's on your sewing table at the moment? I suppose there's always patterns coming out all of the time, but I think I have kind of accepted that I've got more patterns probably than I can ever even make in my lifetime, especially as I'm sewing so slowly now that I'm working more. I do sometimes get a little bit tempted. I did buy the ballad blouse from Love Notions because it was on $5 special. I guess $5 isn't too much to pay for a pattern. But I don't think I've bought anything else. I've been a little bit tempted by that Cashmerette Club, but honestly, I haven't made all the Cashmerette patterns I've got. Their book as well. I've only made, I think, one pattern out of their Ahead of the Curve book, so I don't think I can justify joining their club. Also, I thought, you know, maybe, I don't know what it will be like next year, but I guess if you're going to, if I get to the stage where I'm interested in more patterns or have more time, I thought what you should do is probably join for the whole year and get all the back patterns in a year or two when there'll be lots of them. But that's just me being my usual frugal, stingy self. But anyway, for now, I have to say, calm down, Deb. You don't need patterns. You've got everything you need. I really do have more patterns than I could possibly ever make. All right, so that's me for today. Nice to talk to you again. Please do let me know how you're getting on in the comments, and I will see you soon.